Good morning, Arkansas. It is Saturday, February 13th, and I'm here to bring you the latest in news and entertainment this morning. Such a chilly afternoon today. I hope you're all being able to stay warm out there. I, for one, am not a fan of temperatures quite this low. I know a lot of people say at least you can put on more clothes when it's cold, but then I'm just still cold inside bundles of clothes that restrict my movement, and it's still very uncomfortable. You know, I'm sure you guys saw it too, but I saw the funniest story just a few days ago. An attorney joined a Zoom call with no idea that there was a filter activated on his computer, making him appear to be a fluffy kitten on screen. The lawyer says to his team, with no idea how the filter got there or how to remove it, "I'm here live, I'm not a cat." I can't tell you how many times I've messed up somehow with a piece of technology. Do you ever go to reply to someone on a work or school email and not realize you've pressed reply all? There is seriously nothing more embarrassing than sending personal info in a reply all email. We've all done it though. That's just one of those embarrassing life things. In entertainment news, it seems that one effect of this ongoing pandemic may actually have a fun side to it. We hear day in and day out about the negative effects of the pandemic, and I know most of us are suffering from some form of pandemic fatigue, so let's take a moment to talk about this slightly less morbid pandemic-related news. Hasbro reports that their sales have risen 21% in the fourth quarter, with games like Monopoly and Dungeons & Dragons and Magic the Gathering making headlines. With everyone staying home, it's a fantastic idea to invest in some family-friendly board games to pass the time. I myself enjoy card games, although I usually stick with the ones that can be played alone. Games aside, let's take a look at local traffic. Major roadways are looking pretty clear. I-40 both east and west look good despite ongoing construction. 630 was running a little slow just before Rodney Parham, but it seems to be clearing up now. One accident on West Markham had traffic headed into downtown lagging a little, but they're working on getting that cleared and the traffic flow is returning to normal. This has been local traffic. You know, I find chilly days like today to be perfect for a good warm cup of coffee or hot chocolate. We're so lucky here in downtown to have so many places within walking distance to get an amazing cup of coffee. And there's very little that feels similar to the pure joy of the scent of coffee and books, both new and old. I don't believe we're expected to get above freezing today, but there'll be more about the weather coming up in just a bit. It's expected to be a doozy, I'll tell you that much. We'll get to the weather in a bit, but first let me take you to a pre-recorded advertisement. Have you got teenagers who are super bored at home? Check out the C.A.L.S catalog of free online content. We've got Let's Plays, reviews, how-tos, DIYs, radio shows, and so much more. We're on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Just search for C.A.L.S Teens. That's C.A.L.S Teens. Alright, let's not keep ignoring the elephant in the room. Let's talk about the weather. This Monday the 15th, the National Weather Service is saying we could see up to 6 inches of snow. I don't think I've seen a snow forecast like that in years. Now, it varies from area to area. Let me find you an official forecast here. They say snowfall accumulations on Sunday and Monday are expected to be at least 4 inches across much of Arkansas. Many areas, except for far southern Arkansas, may see up to 6 or 7 inches of snow. Some people are even calling it a snowstorm. So remember, Arkansas, head to the store to pick up your bread, milk, and eggs. The snowstorm will be upon us soon. Knowing us, we may not get any snow at all. It's so rare to see here. But if we do, you all know what to do. Stay indoors, don't try to travel, keep your pets inside, all the good stuff. It's going to get absolutely frigid, so make sure you leave the water dripping so no pipes freeze. I've seen sleds selling out all over the city, and I think that's just adorable. Arkansan kids don't get to sled very often, unless it's on sand. I'm sure some of you remember the storm of 2000 and the one in 2012, and you know, I really don't think this one will amount to as much as either of those. Just a few flurries here and there, I'm sure. Or, you know, sometimes this gets all hyped up and then all we get is rain. But if we do get snow, I'm sure it'll be a fun-filled week of snowmen and snow angels. Now, I know the weather is going to be our number one story for a while here, but I do have a secondary story for you that's almost as interesting. As I'm sure many of you know, we at Radio C.A.L.S haven't really been ourselves the last few weeks. It seems like someone's been broadcasting on our wavelength for some time now. The mainly concerning thing here is that the show seems to be mostly fictional, even though they're acting as though it's all really happening. I personally just don't like the idea that someone would abuse this position to that extent. We're news providers. We are trusted individuals within society. So, whoever you are, remember that in this profession, we only broadcast the truth. They seem to have created an entire alternate city to broadcast from, with news stories that just can't be real, and people I've never heard of working for the library. Now, listeners, you know I'm going to be honest with you. You know I'd never attempt to deceive you like this other host has. It's what our little beachside city deserves, after all. It's what the people of Big Rock want. Well, my personal feelings about it aside, I'll go ahead and take you over to our weekly financial report.
We are experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by. 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 We are experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by.
Well, listeners, we've seen at least 5 feet or more of snow. Downtown is completely snowed in, as I'm sure many of you are also. I personally know many locals saying they've never seen this amount of snow before in their lives. It certainly is beautiful. A blanket of cold air all settled in over us. I really don't mind being snowed into the studio. I like my little studio and its window. I like watching the snow continue to fall outside as we all look on in awe. Little Rock is beautiful like this. Of course, our city is beautiful always, but this is going to make for some historically beautiful photos, for sure. The impacts it may have to travel are yet to be seen. But listeners, I'm sure we will handle this like we've handled all previous hardships and weather anomalies. We will get through it. We will come out the other side of it a stronger Little Rock, a more tightly knit community. Speaking of community, we are very aware of the issues the station faced earlier this week. It seems that yet again our signal may have been hijacked. A man came on air who claimed to be giving you all real news, traffic, and weather updates. I'd like to make a formal public announcement letting you all know that the information you received in that transmission was completely fictional. We can't be certain of who the hijacker was, and we also can't be certain of his motives. He should not be trusted. But listeners, my loyal listeners, you all know that I would never lie to you. I'm honest with you 100% every time I open my mouth. I would never attempt to deceive you like that other host has. The concerning thing about it is that what he is broadcasting seems to be clearly completely fictional. After all, since when were we a beachside city? And I'm not sure if a city called Big Rock even exists, but it sounds to me like a blatant parody of our wonderful little city. Whoever you are, hijacker, you should remember that in this profession, we maintain the loyalty and respect of our listeners by broadcasting only what is real and true. Listeners, if we ever hear that other host again, I urge you to ignore his words. There's no telling what else he would be willing to lie about. What an awful man. I hope never to hear his voice on my radio ever again. Well, listeners, it's hard to tell with the cloud cover and continuously falling snow, but it seems as though the sun is beginning to set. And as the snow builds up around the cars and buildings downtown and the sun starts to leave us, the world seems to settle in, blanketed and warm despite the frozen precipitation. It has truly been an honor to be your radio host for the evening. Thank you for lending me your ear and your loyalty. And as always, stay tuned.